أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على رسوله الكريم وعلى أهله وأصحابه أجمعين أما بعد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي قال الله سبحانه وتعالى في القرآن الكريم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ومن لم يحكم بما أنزل الله فأولئك هم الكافرون صدق الله العظيم. Jazakallah khair, brothers, sisters, elders, for attending today. As Brother Muzzer mentioned, the first part of the talk, which was the golden age, it almost sounds like a fairy tale. Yeah, what Muzzer described sounds like a fairy tale. Now, for a lot of, not a lot of the youngsters, for everybody here, in our lives, we haven't seen any of this. We haven't seen the West looking up to the Muslims. We've looked at the death and the destruction of the Muslims. And the Muslims looking up to the West, wanting to come here, wanted to come to Europe, wanted to come to America, because they have and we don't have. In the age that Muzzer described, we had and they didn't have. Yeah, we were the inventors. We had everything. They didn't, and they came to us. The kings and queens of Europe, of Spain, used to send their children to be educated. Where? Iraq, Baghdad. We now send our children to be educated where? So it's almost like it's been flipped. So what's happened? What's happened to this fairy tale? Where has it gone? Has it gone into a lot of these little children that you see running around? They know about these fairy tales because they get taught these fairy tales at night. I remember a long time ago, when I was that age, when I was young, and my father, who's in the audience, they used to tell us about stories of the companions and how great it was, how the origins of child benefit, yeah, how the origins of child benefit came into existence, and how the non-Muslims have taken it from us. How education under Islam was the best education ever. Talking about al-Jabar, al-Chem, yeah, from chemistry. All of these things. And now, as I've grown up, it's a fairy tale because I haven't seen any of it. When I turn the telly on, very similar to when you turn the telly on, you see what Abdul Rahim described as death and destruction. So we don't see that. So what happened? What happened from where we were to where we are now? Now we don't have an Islamic state. That's why we've got this talk. That's why we've had this talk on the 3rd of the 3rd. Because that was the date that the Islamic state, the Khilafah, Dawla Islamiyya, many people refer to it as different things. That is the day that it was taken from us. That's the day our last Khalif. That's the day our last Khalif walked out. And we let it happen. We let it happen. Our forefathers, yeah, they let it happen. They saw it happening with their own eyes because it was only in 1924. Imam Muslim, he reports that Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said that the children of Israel, they used to be ruled by prophets. Whenever a prophet died, another prophet would succeed him. But Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam, he said, after me, there will be no more prophets. There will be Khilafah, and they will number many. And the Sahaba, they said, so what do you ask of us? That when you pass away and these Khilafah, they come, what should we do? And Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam, he said, fulfill your obligation to them. Give them the clasp of your heart. Give them your bay'ah. Say that we follow you. So this is what happens after the death of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. That's what he's ordered us to do. So Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, before he passed away, told us, ordered us what to do. Now he told us one by one. We have to make sure we give the bay'ah to one Khalif. When he passes away, to the next Khalif. When he passes away, to the next Khalif. Not PM, Prime Minister, not President, not King, not Dictator. Khalif. One after another. That's what he ordered of us. Why? Because this is what Islam requires of us. And that's what I want to talk about today. Why? Why Khilafah? Why not Prime Minister? Why not President? Why not King? Can't these people look after us? Well, you guys have seen that. You guys have seen that they can't. Some of you are 16, some of you are 18, 20, 40, 60, 80. Yeah? And you've seen that over your life, Muslims haven't been looked after by anybody. It's been death and destruction everywhere. So why is it important for us to have the Islamic rule over us? Yeah, this Khilafah, you might have never heard of it before. And we're going to talk about that as well. Why haven't you heard of this topic before? Yeah? So why is it important for us to have this Islamic rule over us? Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, it's been reported in Hakim and Ahmed that Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he said in a hadith, لِتُنْقَدٌ عَوَرِيَ الْإِسْلَامِ أُرْوَةٌ أُرْوَةٌ. And Mother mentioned this hadith, that the knots of Islam are going to be untied one by one. And the first knot, which is what happened in 1924, will be the ruling, the rule by Islam. And the last will be the Salah. Now why? Why is the first knot going to be the ruling? Do you know when you have a pouch? A lot of you guys don't have a pouch now, it's just a card. But imagine like some of the girls, they might carry a pouch and they have a knot in it. Yeah? You know when you open that knot, that pouch carries a lot of, and I don't want to refer this just to the girls, it might have some, blusher or makeup or coins in your case, yeah? In the pouch. As soon as you open that first knot, it's only one knot. A lot of things in that pouch. A lot of things in that pouch. You open that one knot, you expose everything. You expose everything. After that knot was opened in 1924, we exposed everything. There was nobody to defend us anymore. I don't know if you watched the trailer, yeah? But what happened is that they started to divide us. They started to put leaders, yeah? They started to put puppet leaders in our countries, yeah? Who don't care about us. The Khalif took a bay'ah, yeah? To say he would care about us, he would protect us. And like Mother mentioned, it was always done. But now, we've got many Muslim leaders, not one like we're meant to have, we've got many who can't do the job at all. So that knot that was untied in 1924, after that, the pouch has become open. The marbles are spreading everywhere. We can't enforce prayer. We can't enforce fasting. Yeah, you know what it's like? You know what it's like when you're fasting in Ramadan. There's people spliffing, there's people smoking, there's people eating on Tweedle Street, on Milton Road, in your own areas. What can you do? Nothing. Why? Because that first knot has been untied. You cannot even enforce your salah, your prayer. You can't enforce it. Because if people aren't praying, what can you do? Nothing. So that is why it's so important. That is why Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, has deemed this so important. Abu Hanifa, the way that you pray, you follow Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, but the person who's done the ijtihad to say this is how we do it is a person called Imam Abu Hanifa, a scholar. He said that the Khilafah is the Ummatul Fara'id, is the mother of all of the fard, of Salah, of Zakah, of Hajj, is the mother of all of these fard. What does the mother do? A mother looks after his children. Without the Khilafah, there isn't anybody looking after you. Who's looking after Iraq? Who's looking after the orphans in Baghdad? This golden city that Mother's talked about, who's looking after the orphans? Who's looking after the widows? Who's looking after the poor people in Pakistan, in Iraq, in Afghanistan? All over the world, Muslims are dying, they're hungry, they're poor, they're needy. Where's the mother? They died in 1924. That's why it's important. That's why this obligation is the most important obligation in the whole of Islam. But it's almost as if it's been wiped out of our minds. Because some people are not even aware of this date. They know Christmas, they know Easter, they know when the holidays are, more so than they know this date. And this date is very significant, because our mother was taken from us. The mother that looked after us was taken from us. Yeah? People insulted, tried to insult the Prophet ﷺ then. It stopped immediately, because there was an army ready to march. Yeah? We had technology, we had industry, we had everything, and it was taken away. Why? Because they saw it. In the Crusades, they saw it, and they weren't happy with this because they wanted it. We were having baths. Yeah? In the era that we were having baths in our houses, because that's what Islam obliges. In that era, they had the Black Death in London, where they were putting in buckets and throwing it over the window. We had underground sewage systems at that time. Look now. They've got underground sewage systems, and in Pakistan, we're putting in buckets and throwing it out of windows in some areas. It's flipped, because there's nobody looking after us anymore. And that's what we need. Many, many Muslims were instrumental in this. Lord Curzon, who was the British Foreign Secretary during that from 1919 to 1924, which is when the Khilafah was destroyed. Do you know what he said? He said, we must put an end, these are his words. We must put an end to anything which brings about Islamic unity between the sons of the Muslims. Yeah? We must bring about an end to Islamic unity between all of you lot. And we've already succeeded in finishing the Caliphate, he says. Because this is after 1924. He's saying we've succeeded in finishing the mother. Our hands are full of blood. Now let's wash our hands, and we will shake all of your hands. We shake the hand of the person who's killed our mother without even knowing it. And he carries on. He says, so we have finished the caliphate, and so we must ensure that it will never rise again. And this is their plan. This is their plan, to wipe out this word caliphate, Islamic system, Islamic state, out of your mind. Never existed. Muhammad, just a nice man. He shook hands with people and they just became a Muslim. Yeah, that's how we, our forefathers, a lot of us are from Pakistan and India, our forefathers were fire worshippers, or Hindus, before Islam came there. So is that what they did? Just shake hands, and we thought, oh, mashallah, really nice, and we all became, so that's how the whole world became Muslim. No, that's not how the whole world became Muslim. It was spread, like Mazhar said. And there's other people who were really instrumental in this. And we need to look at our history. We need to look at their history, how they destroyed Islam. So people like Lord Curzon, people like, and you guys must have studied this in your in GCSE history, Lawrence of Arabia, T.E. Lawrence, Thomas Edward Lawrence, how he was instrumental, in dissecting the Muslim lands, literally getting a ruler and saying, there's Egypt, there's Sudan, this is Saudi. They drew borders. We didn't have these borders. They drew these borders with rulers. That's how straight the borders are. And we've accepted them. Thank you very much. With that bloody hand, with that hand that killed our mother, that looked after us, we shake their hand and say, yeah. We like Britain. We want to be British. They killed our mother. They took the Islamic system away from us, which is why they've got what they've got. We had all of that. And we can get it back. And there's many, many others. Lord Balfour, Ataturk, Mustafa Kemal, And there was a local, Global Basha, he was called, from Preston. People like this, they were educated here. And they went to the Muslim lands to dissect. Yeah? And they took that away from us. And we must understand this. So when those puppet rulers, they were put back in. And now let's not forget that word, that phrase that Lord Curzon said. He said, we must ensure that it will never rise again. And they were passionate about this. Islam, you know where the Eiffel Tower is? Point to the Volvo thing. But imagine that's the Eiffel Tower. Islam got 200 miles from the Eiffel Tower. They were scared. They didn't want Islam. They didn't want Islam. They wanted to stop it. It came into Europe. It was 200 miles from the Eiffel Tower at one stage. Yeah? And they said, we will make sure it would never comes back again. Yeah? So all of these books that Muslims are talking about, they're all burned. Who invented the light bulb? Who invented the camshaft? Who invented the steam engine? Who invented all of these things? They're all non-Muslims. There's an exhibition last year that went round, yeah, pointing to the fact of how many Muslim inventions we have. Yeah? And it's an exhibition that was put on in London, in Chicago, in New York. It's called the 1001 Inventions. And if you want to have a look at this book afterwards, please, you can. It talks about how Muslims invented a system where water could come into the house. There wasn't any pumps. So they used to have, I'm an engineer so I'm going to tell you, they used to have massive wheels outside where the rivers flow. They used to have a massive wheel that took water all the way to the top, because that's what you need. You need momentum to take it down. Yeah, so the water wheel, we invented the water wheel. It took water to the top, and then in tubes, it took the water to everybody's house because it had some pressure behind it. It took all of that. We had that, and they took it away. All of these things that Mother mentioned, they took them away. And we need to understand that we can get back to that stage. Because we have all of these things. We have the resources. Where's all the oil? It's in Britain. Wales? Scotland? No, it's not. It's in the Muslim lands. All the minerals are in the Muslim lands. All the gas is in the Muslim lands. Yeah, what have we got? Buckets. We got buckets to poo in. Is that it? Surely we're better than that. So now let's go back to this phrase that where Lord Curzon said, and we will ensure that it never comes back. What is our duty here and now? What is our duty here and now? They have got an attack on Islam. They want to make sure that Islam never comes back. So they want to say to you guys, Islam is backwards. There's a few points, and we need to understand these points. And this is what I want you to go home with. You can go home with a fairy tale, but you can take it or you can buy a book that tells you about it, and it's very comprehensive. But what I want you to go back with are these points. The non-Muslims, they will say, Islam, it doesn't allow the men to treat the women properly. It's backwards. The women are oppressed. Men, you guys wear what you want. The women, they have to wear these things over their heads. They're oppressed. It's not good. And maybe your teachers, your lecturers, people in your school, people on the streets will say that. Oh my gosh, what's she wearing in summer? Can't she wear a skirt or a long dress or a mini skirt? Isn't she hot? And we don't know what to say, so we think, yeah, Islam's not practical. Islam is a little bit backwards. So we take the headscarf off, shall we? Should we take it off and put it on our hearts? Yeah? The headscarf now is to put that, not on the head, but on the heart. So as long as your heart's clean, yeah, that's alright. So at least the non-Muslims don't say anything to us. Or we could wear the convertible one, the one that comes up and down. Yeah? But They attack Islam. They'll say the social system, what's that? It's like the girls are on that side, the guys are on this side. What? What's this big screen in the middle? Like some of the MPs when they went to a wedding. He said, what's this big screen in the middle? Don't you trust yourself? Don't you guys trust yourself that you're not going to look at them lot? Ah, dirty Muslims. Innit? Can't get rid of this. We're alright. We can do that. We trust ourselves. You guys don't. So they will say this to you. How do you explain this? Punishments. You guys chop the hand? Chop the hand of a thief? Oh. What's he going to eat with? How do you reply? So that's the first point. They will say Islam is barbaric. Islam is backwards. Yeah? Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, Muhammad, 1400 years ago. Not now. This isn't. Now we're in iPads and iPods and technology. Islam's not for now. So they will say that. Point one. Point two. They will say, because Islam's backwards, we need to change it. We need to change Islam. This man-women thing, get rid of this. We don't need this. You're alright. As long as you trust your heart, it's alright. As long as the women trust their heart, they're alright. There's no segregation in Islam. Not for now anyway. Maybe for the past, but not for now. Now, pray 5 times a day, but if you can't, don't worry about it. It's alright. Very, very lax. Very lax. Men leading prayer? No. There's the women leading prayer as well. Equal. Men, women are equal. If men can lead the prayer, so can women. And they tried it. Men can do the azan, so can women. That's equal. So we need to change Islam. It's equality. It's humanitarian. And as a result of that, the third and most final point. Because Islam's backward and we need to change it, all of the constitutions that we established as non-Muslims, we put these constitutions down in Pakistan, in Syria, in Tunisia, in Iraq. When we demolished you, when we killed your mother, and we put these constitutions down, now you're saying, Ashab, you read, Nizam al-Islamiyya, that the people of Iraq, the people of Syria, the people, they want the Islamic system to come back. No way! You're not having it. You know why? Because Islam's barbaric. And you guys admit it. Because in your schools, in your colleges, in your workplaces, when people attack Islam, you go, because we can't defend it. We can't defend it. The teachers say, yeah, alright, Mohammed, how come your dad's dropping you off in them pajamas again? Alright, Mohammed, why is your mum wearing that silly thing in the summer? Alright, Mohammed, how come you're starving yourself this Ramadan? It's good for my health. Is that our defense of Islam? How poor of a defense of Islam is that? Yeah? No wonder they said, yeah, it's backwards. So now, when you guys want it, right from the start, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He said in Surah Ma'idah, He said, وَمَنْ لَمْ يَحْكُمْ بِمَا أَنزَلَ اللَّهُ فَأُولَٰئِكَ هُمُ الظَّالِمُونَ. That those who rule by other than what Allah has revealed, they're zalims. They're zalims. And I want to mention this point about zulm. What's zulm? Zalim, you know what zalim is? It's the same in Punjabi and Pakistani and Urdu. Zalim, yeah, is somebody who does zulm. What's zulm? If you've got something and I take it off you, that's zulm. I take something that belongs to you, that's zulm. The Muslims understand that Islam gives them their rights. If you don't judge by what Allah has revealed, you'll be a zalim because you take the rights of the Muslims away. And that's what's happened. The rights of you guys, the rights of Muslims in Syria, the rights of Muslims in Pakistan, the rights of Muslims all over the world have been taken away. And they're out on the street. And you know what they want? They want the return of Islam. They want Islam to come back because they know only Islam will guarantee them their rights. That's what zulm is. You nick something, you steal something. These Muslim leaders now, they have stolen our rights. The poor people of Pakistan, Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, like Mazhar mentioned, said in a hadith, the son of Adam has got a right to 3 things: food, clothing and shelter. Look at how many people are without food, clothing and shelter. Which democracy, which capitalist system is going to give them that right? The zalim there now, in power, has taken it, has stripped the Muslims, the poor Muslims, of their right. The only way that they will get that right back is through Islam. The job market in Tunisia, in Syria, is not there. They've been stripped of their right. The only way that they will get that right back is when zulm finishes. And the only time zulm is going to finish is when we re-establish the state. So now, here and now, our duty is to make sure, because we're in a critical time. We're in a critical time where the non-Muslims are trying to force the Muslims to say Islam has got no part to play in the constitution. It's democratic. These constitutions that we put in place in 1924 stay. No matter how many of you are out on the street, we will kill you. And you've seen the pictures of hundreds and thousands of Muslims being killed and butchered because they say, no, we want our right back. And we sit here in the UK. We need to defend them. We need to make sure that these people who are out on the streets in the Muslim land calling for Islam to be put back into the constitution, calling for Islam to be the basis of the constitution, which is the next 4 circles that we're going to have as Project Madinah, to go into this constitution to say, let's see what an Islamic constitution actually is. Do we even know what constitution is? We're going to look at the first constitution of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam to see what he ordered the Muslim constitution to look like. So that's what our role is. Our role is to make sure that any constitution that we accept is based on Islam. Because they're saying now to the Muslim parties, no, you can't. Islam is the basis of the constitution. Islam is backwards. Islam is for the dark ages. Islam doesn't make sense. Islam is this, because we have accepted it. We need to push an argument that says, no, it isn't. I'll tell you what oppression is. You think that's oppression? Oppression is when it's freezing cold outside, and on a Saturday night, you're telling your women to wear miniskirts to go down to the nightclub. That's oppression. They can't even walk properly. Yeah? They're wiggling like penguins, and they're freezing. That's oppression. You tell your women what to wear. You tell your women not what to wear. We don't. Allah tells you what to wear. Allah tells women what to wear. Not man. Not Giorgio Armani. Not Versace. Not Gucci. Whereas here, Gucci decides what women wear. We need to have these arguments. We need to equip ourselves with these arguments to be able to face the media when they say Islam is backwards. Islam is just about praying and fasting. It's just about that. Nothing to do with politics. Nothing to do with the constitution. That's when we need to step in and say, no, you're wrong. The only way, not only for the Muslims, but alhamdulillah, at this day and age, for the non-Muslims as well. They're on the streets. The non-Muslims are saying to us, freedom, democracy. This is the way for your constitution. Their people are out on the streets. In America, the Occupy movement, there's hundreds and thousands of people on the streets that say, we're not satisfied with this constitution. In Greece, they're rioting and looting. In London, the poor students, education in Islam is free. Here, you finish a degree and you come out with a £50,000 bill. Islam guarantees you your rights. So not only for the Muslims, but for the non-Muslims as well, we need to explain it. That Islam's not backwards. Islam is the future. Islam will guarantee you your rights. Yeah? So not only for the Muslims in the Muslim world, but for you too. Dave, Steve, Amanda, Louise, whatever. Yeah? Islam is for you too. Because if Islam does come back, And we're going to go on to the promise of Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that it will come back. We've got to make sure we bring it back. And we're going to be the superpower again. Before Isa alayhi salam comes, we will be the superpower again if we rule by Islam. Not by our minds, not by our hearts, by Islam. And that's what Brother Sharif's going to go on to say, when we rule by Islam, yeah, what's going to happen? So that's my take-home message. To say that at this moment in time is critical. Because Islam could come back like that. But we need to play a part in it to make sure that it's not portrayed as something backwards, something barbaric. Because if it is, they've got a legitimate, they start to portray a legitimate right in the media to say, don't have it as part of the constitution. You're going to start chopping people's hands off. You're going to start covering all of the women. You're going to start... Are we? In the whole history of Islam, how many hands were chopped off? Between 200 and 300 hands in 1400 years of history. And you didn't have thieves who were rioting and looting because it was a deterrent. You think about it. You see a mobile phone hanging around, lying around somewhere, and you think, okay, if I take it and get caught, because I'm under 16, I'm just going to get a smack on my hand. Yeah, you take it. You see a mobile phone lying around under the Islamic State, and you think, I want to take that, but I like eating with my hand. You leave it because it's a deterrent. That's because all of the laws are from Allah. All of these laws that we put in the constitution are from Allah. But all we know about is Allahu Akbar. Yeah? And Ramadan. Isn't it? That praying and fasting. That's all what Islam, that's what Islam's about. Inshallah, I'm going to hand back over to Tim, but the next talk is going to actually talk about it. We're going to go through this. So it's not just about that, but when Islam comes in the future, what is it going to look like? What's the Islamic constitution in the future going to look like? Because all of you are going to have a part to play in it, inshallah.